So if you've been a fan of this YouTube channel for a number of years, you probably recognize that I have a very deep personal connection to the story of the Robertsons. Nick Robertson and Jason Robertson of the Maple Leafs and the Dallas Stars. These guys have a story that I absolutely love. For me personally, I'm a Filipino dude, was born in the Philippines, full Filipino blood, was raised here in Vancouver though, so my cultural identity is a little bit scattered. However, of course, proud to be Pinoy, right? Any Filipinos, especially those in the hockey world, I pay attention to and love very much. So for the Robertsons, of course, seeing Jason Robertson absolutely tear up the NHL and be the superstar that he is on the Dallas Stars, that's great. But his younger brother Nick is in a tough spot, because he's been wanting out for a while. With the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's been very well documented that Robertson and the way that he's been used, the way that he's been deployed, where he gets played, and what team he ends up staying on, all of these factors play into him wanting a trade, wanting to be used elsewhere, and wanting to be given a better opportunity. He doesn't even have a contract right now. He's still an RFA that is unsigned, and it seems like he's not going to get a contract done with the Leafs pretty much until he gets traded, and then he'll get a contract done with some other team instead. So, with all this in mind, I wanted to go out there and talk about an article published by Jesse Corville-Lynch on thehockeywriters.com. This was from 2 days ago, and it goes over the idea of a Nick Robertson to Edmonton trade. Corville-Lynch goes out there and explores the odds of this kind of a deal happening. Now, of course, I wanted to go out there and read some of the ideas brought up in this article, starting out with the opening paragraph. The Oilers and Maple Leafs will both be contending in the 24-25 season and hoping to win their first Stanley Cup in a long time. The Oilers haven't, well, okay, this is kind of unrelated, not gonna lie. Nick Robertson has made it well known that he's interested in being traded from the Maple Leafs after a couple of seasons of being underutilized. The Oilers may look to continue bolstering their bottom six forward group heading into their new campaign, and Robertson provides a skill set that could complement their current lineup. Now, the thing is, honestly, my first response when reading that paragraph was, hey, you know what else Robertson provides? Age. The Oilers are one of, if not the absolute oldest teams in the NHL right now, and Nick Robertson would add some much-needed youthful exuberance wherever it is he's placed into the Oilers lineup. And I get it, it's also a point to bring up, like, okay, if he's going to be used in the Toronto bottom six, what's going to make him be willing to be in the Edmonton bottom six? I mean, is it not just the same role? Honestly, to respond to that, I feel like for Robertson and the Maple Leafs, a lot of this has to do with the AHL time that he was always subjected to, maybe unjustly so, and the scratches here and there that would definitely be a part of it. I think Robertson is looking for consistency, and he just would not be able to find that in Toronto. Meanwhile, for the Edmonton Oilers, this is what Corville-Lynch goes out there and writes. His two-way game could give the Oilers a much stronger depth chart, and it could also give him the fresh start he's been looking for. It would be tough for the two sides to pull off a deal that helps them both, but it is possible, and the Oilers should be pursuing Robertson. He is an upgrade on veteran forward Derek Ryan, who is penciled into the Oilers lineup currently. Robertson could be a hidden gem that teams have yet to take a chance on. Both his offensive and defensive games are strong enough to help a contender right now, but his injuries have affected his trust within the Maple Leafs organization, thus likely leading to the trade request. So what would a deal look like between the two, and is it possible? Now, when you consider the other trade that the Oilers made for a young-ish forward, the Vasily Podkolzin Canucks trade, I'd say that they actually got huge value out of that fourth-round pick. Now, it was good for Vancouver to make that trade as well. We had discussed why the Canucks traded away Podkolzin. It's not because he's worth a fourth-round pick. Oh, they turned a top 10 guy into a fourth-round pick. No, it's really just because the Vancouver Canucks didn't have the room, and Podkolzin was waiver eligible. They might have lost him for free if the circumstances didn't align for him to play with the team, and, you know, just getting an asset for something that you could have lost out on for nothing is good. But the Oilers proved that they can get these trades done while coming out on top. Nick Robertson, I'd say, probably has a bit more value than Podkolzin, but not by much. The article writes here that Robertson's trade value isn't high, and the Oilers should buy low. Despite a strong skill set that many NHL teams could take advantage of in their lineup, Robertson's trade value is likely at an all-time low. He's currently an RFA and requires a new contract which lowers his value already, but his lack of playing time and spot on the Maple Leafs depth chart could encourage the Oilers to buy low. While it would be smart for the Oilers to move some money out in a deal for Robertson, they have the money available to acquire him for a draft pick, depending on what the asking price will be. For someone who has made it known they don't want to be a Maple Leaf, it wouldn't be surprising to see him get moved for close to nothing. Even though I would personally say that Robertson should be seen as more valuable than a guy like Podkolzin, the fact is everybody knows that Robertson wants out. Everybody knows that he's probably not going to sign with the Maple Leafs, and everybody knows that it's just a matter of time. So, Nick Robertson, if he goes for a 4th-round pick like Podkolzin, I don't really think it's that surprising. I think it would be more so expected, to be honest. Sure, if he gets more, then okay, that wouldn't be surprising either. If he goes for a 2nd or a 3rd instead of a 4th, then great. But at the same time, you're losing a lot of leverage if you're Toronto with all these rumors coming out and with him expressing his concerns. Of course, you don't want to see a guy express concerns in the ways that he did. You'd rather just keep him, have him as an option. Be in the AHL, be in the NHL, whatever, he can still be effective, but Toronto just does not have that luxury anymore when it comes to Robertson. He's kind of fed up and the patience is already at a candle's end. So that's fine, but Toronto may be losing out a little bit here if Robertson does go out there and get traded in this way. The rest of the article then goes over the Podkolzin trade. It talks about how Robertson's value may not be all too much higher than Vasily Podkolzin, and then it goes over the salary cap. The Oilers have $945,000 in space and everything. They could make a trade with another guy attached to it to free up the money and just make sure they're able to get this contract done, but it likely isn't the most important thing in the world. They'll still probably be able to get things done properly if they were to just make a Robertson trade for a pick straight up. So I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on whether or not Nick Robertson is a worthy acquisition for a team like the Edmonton Oilers. Honestly, just thinking about Robertson and Podkolzin on the same line, that would be a buzzsaw kind of line. Just the tenacity of a guy like Podkolzin in terms of going into the boards, the tenacity of a guy like Robertson in terms of going into the boards and also having a goal-scoring touch that Vasily Podkolzin has since lacked since the 2018 Hlinka Gretzky tournament. But I digress, all Podkolzin slander aside, Robertson and Podkolzin would be a nightmare of a third energy line to play against, with some offensive flair to boot as well. Is it a good idea? You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Nick Robertson heading over to Edmonton in some sort of a hypothetical move? If you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, let me know your thoughts in the comments as to what you think a Robertson return should, would, or could look like, and whether or not you really think Edmonton could be a destination too. Article will be linked in the description if you want to go ahead and read the rest of this yourself. Of course, we gotta give props over to the writer for inspiring this video and the idea, so go ahead, give the hockey writers their ad views and read the piece. But either way, same sentiments apply here. What are your thoughts on the Oilers? What are your thoughts on the Leafs? And what are your thoughts on Nick Robertson? Yay or nay? If he's anything like his brother Jason, then this would be an obvious yay, but you can't guarantee that, especially since he's like multiple inches shorter, too. So, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Nick Robertson and the Edmonton Oilers. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.